uzongicheckela nje ama-question akhona lawa lapho azoba lapho ukuthi abanye abakhona lapho balogile. Ladies and gentlemen, as reported, maybe we should firstly apologize for the late alert. It was the 10 of event. You will be aware that there will be an NEC and subsequently the National Lekgotla of the National Executive Committee, which requires the attention of the provincial secretary. It was based on that we had to then invite you late. Nonetheless, we thank you for your presence. As communicated today, we are going to communicate the outcome of the provincial, our first provincial executive committee meeting, which was attended by the president. The provincial secretary will take us through the statement. Hlangamandla, over to you.
No. Thanks very much, Comrade Mafiga, our spokesperson and a member of the Provincial Working Committee. Greetings to our comrades, staff from communications. Also greetings to the media that is here and also other media that is on the visual platform. Pungola Sawa. All right. Wapeta my question. I know, Mganame. It's part of it. It's a professional job, by the way. Yeah, no, thanks very much. We are reporting on the decisions and deliberations of the Provincial Executive Committee, the first ordinary Provincial Executive Committee in the year 2023 after the 55th National Conference of the ANC. That went very well. We applaud the ANC for having such a great conference that came out with such a credible, democratically elected leadership of our movement. We started the meeting of the Provincial Executive Committee for the year 2023 on a sum-up note, where to pause and remember our comrades who departed this month. We know that the thousands of words of sympathy are not enough to mend the broken hearts of families and the loved ones of the departed comrades. Remember the following comrades: Comrade Koskona Mdlalose, who was a regional chairperson of the ANC Women's League in Mzala Nxumalo region, also a ward councillor of Ward 12, Abaqulusi municipality. Comrade Mpendulo Khumalo from Mzala Nxumalo region. Both comrades were involved in a car accident on their return from the 55th National Conference of the ANC. This past weekend, we also laid to rest our struggle icon, Comrade Edgar Zondi Aka, Chris Muterende, and our chairperson, Comrade Siboniso, was deployed to be part of this send-off of our veterans who ushered a new chapter in the lives of the millions of our people. We have accordingly mandated the ANC government provincially to roll out the military veterans program to various district municipalities, with all government departments and municipalities playing a critical role. It cannot be correct that military veterans are left destitute under a democratic government which they established through years of sacrifice. Most of the veterans have no work, no medical assistance, and no housing or education and training. This is a matter that must be urgently addressed by a democratic government that they solely work tirelessly to establish. The instructions are clear. Members of the PEC in KwaZulu-Natal are ready to act collectively in partnership with alliance partners, South African Communist Party, Congress of South African Trade Unions, and South African National Civic Organization, SANCO. We emerged from the PEC meeting with an understanding of the importance of the ANC structures across our branches as agents of transformation. We do not want members of the ANC to be left behind. No member of the ANC or alliance partner must feel that their contribution towards building this province is insignificant. Our message is that the ANC is a home for all. It is for these reasons we have undertaken to visit branches to ensure that ANC members and alliance partners participate in programs aiming at strengthening the movement. All programs of service delivery and transformation of the economy requires understanding and involvement of ANC structures and alliance partners as a whole. We must take a stand that ensures that no one feels marginalized, isolated, and prevented from taking part in the programs of the entire Congress movement. To augment the work of the PEC, we have taken a decision to co-opt the following comrades into the Provincial Executive Committee in order to cater the principles of experience, skills, geographical spread, and national cohesion. And the following comrades that are now form part of the Provincial Executive Committee through co-option is Comrade Mthandeni Dlungwana, a former ANC Youth League Provincial Chairperson, and a former MEC, and a former Chairperson of Moses Mabhida Region. Comrade Fikile Masiko, a former ANC Youth League leader, also currently a coordinator of the ANC Women's League in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And Comrade Nandikon Singh, who is also a member of the Youth League, also currently serving as a regional executive committee member in General Kizenga region. These are seasoned cadres of the movement whose extensive experience both in organizational and in government will help bring the gap between the PEC and structures of the movement. Comrade Nandikon Singh is a young, energetic cadre who is part of the ANC Youth League Regional Executive Committee in General Kizenga and also the African National Congress Regional Executive Committee. In addition, the PEC has elected Comrade Zandile Cele to be part of the Provincial Executive Committee. This follows the election of Comrade Nobuhle, Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, into the National Executive Committee of the ANC. We congratulate these men and women of the Congress movement and wish them well in their work in serving our people. At this stage, we wish to turn our attention to our interaction with our beloved ANC President, Comrade Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. We wish to state that we had a frank, robust, and holds no bad discussion with Comrade President. This was indicative of our quest towards finding long-lasting solution to the challenges of load shedding, the collapse of water infrastructure, and a high rate of unemployment. As the PEC, we have resolved to ensure that the people of this province, where visible action are taken beyond these challenges. It will be an indictment on all of us as the PEC and the NEC if we fail to act against the reversal of the gains we have made since democracy in 1994. We must hasten to point out that the participation of the President in the PEC was aimed at instilling the culture of accountability by leaders elected by structures of our movement. We want to entrench this culture in the regions and branches. ANC deployees must be held accountable by the structures and communities for their actions on inability to act. It is important to ensure that those that are deployed by the ANC in different spheres of government are supported by all. Equally, this support must be reciprocated by hard work and the willingness to account to the structures of the movement. The PEC believes that the support extended to the deployees of the ANC will be augmented through the integration of work of all spheres of government, national, provincial, and municipalities. Our view is that a democratic government elected through the will of the people must jointly deliver on the positive outcomes, since success depends on several departments cooperating amongst each other. The PEC has also agreed that the Monitoring and Service Delivery Unit, which is located in the Presidency and in the Office of the Premier, will continuously make reports available to ensure that targets that are agreed for to deliver services to our people are met. This will start with the President to the Premier, MECs, and the mayors. In fact, the President reported that he's going to appoint someone who's going to be a person who will monitor the implementation of the budget in the entire government system in all spheres of government. Speed in sense that out there is that there is a clear impatience as demonstrated by sporadic service delivery process in our province. Because people say they've been waiting for water, electricity, housing, access roads, and overall the betterment of our lives. They argue that they waited for the reparation to come with these basic services. They feel that load shedding and the collapse of water infrastructure is taking them backward. As a listening organization, we've seen to be acting. All in all, we extend our appreciation to the President. We thank him for spending the whole day with PEC members. He answered all questions posed to him and undertook to unblock any blockages that stand between the people of KwaZulu-Natal as prosperity. And I think we need to say it categorically, unless we don't recollect facts, but if anyone disapproves, I think it's the first time since unbanning that an ANC president will sit with the PEC the whole day, engage the PEC from 11 o'clock up till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then even when we try to say, let's try to cut speakers because we think the president is busy, he said, no, I've dedicated the whole Monday to KwaZulu-Natal. I'm coming here to serve you as your president. Then you can raise whatever issue, you can speak 20 minutes, 30 minutes, as long as you have not finished your points, nobody must stop you. I think we must feel that the president is really humble. To us, it was humbling to see the leader of our movement dedicating all his time. We know the president's got a busy schedule, but he gave us all, to be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, let us turn our focus to the issue of rising electricity tariffs, crippling load shedding and energy security in KwaZulu-Natal. The ANC-KZN has unanimously rejected the implementation of 18.65% tariff increase by the National Energy Regulation NERSA for the current financial year and a further 12.74% for the next financial year. The rejection is based on the following factors. The negative economic conditions look set to impose hardships on the millions of our people in South Africa and in KwaZulu-Natal in particular. Rising electricity tariffs have heightened the public fears and anxiety. A growing number of forecasts have revealed rising food prices in all levels. Fuel prices are set to increase next week as announced by the Central Energy Fund yesterday. According to the fund, all fuel types except diesel will rise. Unfortunately, salaries have not been increased of public servants, at least for the past 3 years. In addition, many people are languishing home in abject poverty as a result of the trail of destruction left by COVID-19 and devastating floods. The PEC has observed that in terms of the constitution, Eskom has an obligation to supply electricity to ensure socio-economic well-being of all South Africans. Our targets on job creation and industrial growth are dependent on the availability of electricity. Equally, the general delivery of better health for all to our people is based on our ability to be able to bring the access of electricity water very close to our people. Eskom's sustained supply of electricity is dependent on the management's ability to ensure that the energy availability factor across all power stations is achieved, at least above 75%. Regrettable, achieving energy availability factor is something that the outgoing Eskom unread director, the most foolish man, and the COO, Jan Oberholzer, have failed dismally to do. The inability has resulted in the rampant load shedding that has crippled the economy. Having received a comprehensive presentation from the President on government intervention to stop load shedding, the PEC has resolved to support the President's call that Eskom should halt implementation of 18.65% of tariff increase in April, failure of which we call upon all ANC-led municipalities with members of civil society to take this matter to courts, to support the National Energy Crisis Committee, which is located in the presidency, in pushing for emergency legislation. This will speed up the approval for the construction of new power plants. In fact, we are saying the president has reported to the PEC that he has spoken and suggested to the board of ESCOM that they must put it on hold, the implementation of the 18.65% increase on electricity hikes. We are saying we're supporting that call by the president. But if they are arrogantly not doing so, we have also resolved as the PC that municipalities that are led by the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, especially those that are license holders, including these municipalities, because they get affected when electricity get disrupted. We're calling on them to take a legal action against ESCOM and NERSA to seek for the court to review and set aside that unreasonable decision of NERSA. The support is pretty much based on adherence to clear deadlines, transparency, and accountability. In addition, the PC has discussed and agreed on the need to ensure energy security in KwaZulu-Natal. The meeting has resolved as follows. ANC-led national and provincial government, using the availability legislation, must support municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal to access and acquire alternative sources of energy, both for households and industries. The ANC and its government will have consultation with stakeholders in the public and private sector to ensure a collective approach and one energy plan to benefit the people of this province. While conventional terminal hydro and nuclear energy generation plant will take many years to install, an immediate solution to energy crisis will be to encourage the use of renewable energy sources. We're encouraged by the fact that towards the end of last year, the national government, through COCTA, announced that Herikwala municipality has been earmarked for the establishment of electricity plant. The ANC government cited an appetite from potential investors who pledged to invest through the Eastern Cape Seaport Development Project. The intention is to ensure that the district becomes the supply of electricity to its local municipalities. The PC supports eThekwini municipalities' long-term plans to procure 2,600 megawatts from mixed power sources such as coal, natural gas, photovoltaic, solar power, offshore wind power plants, nuclear, biomass, waste-to-energy plants, and hydropower. We are encouraged the sharing of skills by eThekwini municipalities' energy office with other municipalities within the provincial government and a coordination in terms of the district development model. On the water management crisis, the PC acknowledged that access to water is a basic human right. In addition, the PC is alive to the fact that whenever the ANC government is condemned, it is on the basis of the non-availability of water. Moving forward, the ANC in KZN wants ordinary members of society to be integrated into the entire value chain of the management and delivery of water. In this regard, the PC has resolved as follows. That Comrade Senzo Mthunu's efforts in his capacity as the Minister for Water and Sanitation to radically champion the delivery of water services in a manner that encourages ownership by community through water association, to encourage the duplication of Makhathini Lower Pongolo Water User Association in other districts. The Makhathini Lower Pongolo Water User Association, which consists of various stakeholders, including civil society and the business sector, will ensure that all water users in the Mkhanyakude and Zululand district catchment areas are part of the decision-making process in the corridors of power, especially regarding water management. It is through the ANC government that the community of Mkhanyakude and Zululand district will be actively involved in the management operations of water infrastructure, including 350-kilometer pipe network in their district. And imagine, ANC, I think, is Jesus, because we have just pumped 234 million to Zululand district municipality. Though it is under those tags that are stealing money, but we'll make sure that we'll follow up that this time that thief Thulasizwe Mthilis does not involve himself in procuring of tenders as they always do, so that the money that has been pumped there, it benefits the people of Zululand, not the notorious Thulasizwe Mthilis, a corrupt mayor of the IFP. It is through the ANC that the community of Mkhanyakude, we must hasten to point out that the Information of Water User Association comes hot on the heels of great progress towards the awarding of a water abstraction license to the Mkhanyakude municipality by the Department of Water and Sanitation. These massive strides mirror the ANC stance that social transformation and redress can never be complete without access to dignified water and sanitation. More importantly, we are also aware that rural development and job creation are fundamentally linked to bulk water availability. Comrade Senzo Mchunu will, during the upcoming ANC Lekotla, make detailed presentation on the sustained availability of water to communities around the following dams: Shongweni Dam, Hazelmere Dam, Pongola Port Dam, and Jozini Dam. It is well-known fact that for more than 41 years, Jozini Dam has been used to ferry water through villages of Mkanyagude district far away from destinations without the surrounding communities benefiting. The ANC-led government is now ensuring that water from the dam is blended with the surrounding communities for the benefit of all residents. Lastly, the PEC has resolved to mandate the ANC-led Department of Water and Sanitation, Department of Cooperative Governance and Rural Affairs to ensure that water utilities are strengthened to rapidly increase bulk water supply. They are expected to establish more water treatment plants and storage facilities across all municipalities in the province. On eThekwini, our well-run metro, we are all remember that eThekwini as a coastal city was the hardest hit by floods never seen in the history of humanity. As the ANC will continue to receive reports from the district of eThekwini municipality and the region of the ANC on the work of comrades deployed to serve as councillors in various capacities. We continue to monitor the political oversight work performed by our administration to ensure efficiency and speed towards the repair of damaged socio-economic infrastructure. The relocation of families from mass care centers by the national, provincial department and the municipality was augmented by the support from NGOs, religious and traditional leaders. Where there are areas of concern by some families, who have called on the ANC councillors to be on point of contact and alerted leadership. We pause to express our appreciation to all categories of staff who have worked flat out since the floods last year. We also thank leaders of organized labor for their cooperation. Having highlighted this progress, we understand the impatience of residents who are often subjected to power outages and water supply interruptions, especially in areas like Umlazi, following Kwamakhuta, Phoenix, Inanda, and many others. Everything is being done to turn around the situation. The official recommissioning of Aqueduct 1 and the opening of Reservoir Hill at Umgeni's Depth and Heights water treatment plant is a welcome relief. The continued repair of water waste treatment works will be speeded up by the budget re-engineering and re-fencing of 8% of the budget infrastructure maintenance by eThekwini municipality during this budget adjustment. As the ANC, we commit to strengthen an integrated approach involving other spheres of government in order to accelerate effective, solid service delivery of water. The involvement of Ministerial Committee on Water and Sanitation involving 3 spheres of government is a cascade example. We are also combining resources and skills required to ensure improvement in the restoration of electricity, running water, and road infrastructure. The people of eThekwini deserve access to quality living environment that is safe, healthy, and secure. In fact, we have also instructed the Mayor, Comrade Kaunda, to convene izimbizos in the affected communities, particularly on the south, in Umlazi, Kwamakhuta, and the following, to explain to them the challenges of the pipe that is being on construction and how long is it going to be taken to be fixed, so that they must be aware that the ANC is not just standing and doing nothing. A lot of investment is done to rehabilitate the dilapidated pipe that has been there for some time. We have seen the results of cleaning up of operations in the central business district and the other residential areas. The clearing up of drains by a multi-tribal team must be supported by the members of the public, who must not litter nor use illegal dumping sites. As the ANC, we fully support the enforcement of bylaws as part of ensuring that the responsible residents and visitors are not inconvenienced in any way. The visibility of Metro Police in the CPT will help ensure the safety of residents, visitors, and businesses. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal is firmly behind the broad-based economic empowerment. This is an instrument designed to fast-track the entry of indigenous people into all sectors of the economy as owners and creators of wealth. The ANC has noted comments on various social media platforms that the ANC government is abolishing broad-based black economic empowerment. Unless otherwise stated, the ANC understands that the Public Procurement Bill, which the National Treasurer submitted to President and Parliament, repeals the professional policy framework or professional Policy Regulations of 2017. The bill is aimed at unifying the current fragmented laws dealing with the public sector procurement by creating a single regulated framework for local, provincial, and national government as well as state-owned enterprises. The 2017 regulation under the Preference Framework Act, where in contravention of Section 217 of the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear regarding the role of the state. It says the state must implement a preferential procurement policy that advances people who have been devastated by unfair discrimination. Section 2173 of the Constitution. Regarding the BE, for our parties, the ANC was not resolved the following. The national government will be lobbied to move with speed to ensure the passing of the new procurement bill. Rollout of province-wide awareness roadshows to explain and promote the implementation of the new preferential procurement regulations. Ensure that the stricter measures are put in place to deal decisively with corrupt elements involved in the looting of state resources using new preferential procurement regulations. The ANC will mobilize communities and all stakeholders to join hands and fight the practice of fronting using PE. Fronting is not only unethical, but it is a fraudulent and a criminal offense. We have witnessed the practice of using domestic workers to sustain this practice. We want law enforcement agencies and the court of law to come hard on those who are defrauding the government through this practice. The PEC spent the greater part of yesterday and Sunday discussing the rollout of infrastructure as part of job creation and economic development. By and large, the PEC recalled that manufacturing is one of the sectors hardest hit by recent COVID-19 and floods. Ahead of COVID-19 lockdown, about 315,000 people were employed in manufacturing, representing just 12% of the total formal and informal employment. More than 30,000 jobs were lost during the floods. After deliberation by the PEC, key targets on job creation will be processed during ANC-PEC Lekotla, which will be held on 26 and 27 February 2023. This will be further outlined in the State of the Province address by the Premier. In addition, the Provincial Treasurer will further elaborate on the infrastructure budget. There will be special focus on supporting the implementation of the ANC resolution and economic transformation. Towards the end of last year, the overall infrastructure budget over the medium-term expenditure framework amounted to 18.6 billion, 19 billion and 18.7 billion across all 14 government departments. When the ANC government made this budget allocation, the focus was on reconfiguration the structure of the economy and the provision of past COVID-19 period. In view of the fact that the PEC has resolved to intensify the rollout of infrastructure development projects located in various parts of the province, clear budget allocation would be announced. The ANC in KZN reiterates the need for a better coordination of infrastructure projects, irrespective of the spheres of government, that is the content of the plans in question. It should be remembered that the national government, together with the private sector, identified 276 projects with a total investment value of more than 2.7 trillion. Federal government gazetted 50 of these strategic integrated projects within a value of 340 billion. Such projects are in areas of human settlement, water and sanitation, energy, transport, digital infrastructure, maritime industry, and the development of our Durban harbour. Throughout 2023, the ANC in KZN commits to ensure the developments to develop thriving local economies and to position townships as focal points of government interventions. At the heart of the infrastructure rollout is to get municipalities to be at the forefront of industrial development, including the revitalization of industrial parks. Cooperatives representing different sectors will be the main focus. The PEC agreed that the ANC will monitor its deploys in various spheres of government to ensure that the budget allocated is spent wisely as part of job creation. And under expenditure and the return of money to national treasury will not be tolerated. In this regard, we support ANC President's commitment to ensure that a senior official in the Presidency is assigned to monitor underspending to ensure that funds are not returned to the treasury. Speed and quality in the construction of public infrastructure will be monitored closely. The ANC in KZN will not tolerate failure to pay services within 30 days. We are making a very clear and a deliberate call that a deliberate delays in the processing of invoices must result in disparate processes of those involved, irrespective of their position. The so-called invoicepreneurs, who don't process an invoice unless it is being oiled, then they must be paid. They must face consequences, because the principle of paying service providers within 30 days must be adhered to. For too long, we have been stating that failure to pay suppliers has dire consequences for sustainability of small businesses, but we have not acted against those involved. The ANC in KZN undertakes to be firm on this matter. In conclusion, as the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, we extend our heartfelt condolences to the new Covenant Fellowship following the ultimate departure of Dr. Bison Teron, the founder and senior pastor. Tributes are pouring in from different parts of the world ahead of the homegoing service of our leader, who played an important role in shaping communities. He achieved that through his teachings and devotion. He encouraged self-discipline and consistently strived to improve the lives of our people. He promoted social cohesion and love for this country. We equally draw inspiration from Dr. Tradon's strong views on social justice, voluntarism, and caring for those less fortunate. He mentioned many religious leaders across the province. He was respected by the young and old throughout Durban and the whole province. We join thousands of people in sending our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Mamu Eni, and the entire Tadon family, and the church as a whole. We draw inspiration from Timothy, 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7 to 8. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of rightfulness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all who have loved his appearance. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Nopala. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have also now distributed our statement both electronically and hard copy. We will then take any questions that the media have on the meta statement. I'm sure Upungula unembuzo.
Yeah, my lord.
So he will be the first, and then I will take you as number 2, Pungula.
No, my purpose is the ANC still happy? So with the deployees in a table, given the challenges that Nopala has mentioned, because here there's a collapse of people structure here in the table. So it's not something that happened yesterday. So it's been there for years. I will bring your attention to the report of November 2021. So there was a report on wastewater works in the city. I have information that 27 water works in the city, only 24 of them have no licenses. So they're operating without licenses. 17 of that number have run into what is called total failure. That means, okay, they also gets in there and straight down. So there's no treatment. That's information I'm giving you. The report was compiled in November 2021. And today we talk about it. Today, so we still talk about sewer problems, not fixed. So the water plants not maintained. Hence, I'm asking, are your employees do a good job here in the city, right? So the second point, I want the ANC to comment on the issue of the full council on Thursday. I know there are vacancies there, so the chief whip and also the deputy mayor positions. As the ANC concluded that okay, the names that the party will fill, we contest those 2 positions. Also, maybe you can comment on the proposed motion of no confidence. So that is on the cards as well. So let me pause the banana.
Yes. Thanks, Paula. You can come in.
Thanks. So, again, from independent media. I think my colleague has raised some of the issues on eThekwini, so that's fine. I'll listen to those answers. But my question will then be, when are these scheduled? Thank you.
Okay. Fanele.
Yes, there's a question from Pede Harper. The question says, who will the ANC support as deputy mayor in eThekwini?
Okay, now thanks. In that case, we'll allow the provincial secretary to respond.
No, thanks very much. No, I think we must give a correct analysis on eThekwini. I think many people they are victims of not understanding eThekwini as a municipality. It's got 110 wards, and it houses almost 3.5 million people. And then it generates almost 65% of the economy of KwaZulu-Natal, which makes almost more than 50% of the working population in KwaZulu-Natal to be found in eThekwini. Now, when we talk about rural-urban migration, eThekwini is among the cities in South Africa that has got a lot of migration from not only from parts of the province, but from the rest of our country and neighboring countries, by the way. Then eThekwini is a city of everybody. Now, but eThekwini, I think over the years, which it's a choice that you make when you lead government. Remember when eThekwini was starting to amalgamate all these municipalities around, especially wall-to-wall municipalities in 2000. It arrived at areas where there were services, predominantly in areas that were white-owned areas, or residing white areas. But in many townships, there were no services at all, or if services were there, they were substandard. Now, they have to choose between continuously maintaining the existing infrastructure up to 100% level and ignoring people who got no services at all. Then the trade-offs made them to roll out massive infrastructure to under-service areas. And in the process of doing that, then the already service areas which were designed to serve the minority, then the infrastructure started to deteriorate. But coupled with that is that the floods, I think we have not also explained what happened during the floods in eThekwini. In eThekwini, what happened during floods is that you go to a sewer treatment plant, for example. The whole treatment plant is not get damaged, is wiped away straight to the sea. And when you arrive there, there's no treatment plant at all. For example, what happened in Utonga? In Utonga, it was like everything was damaged there. You have to start afresh. But we applaud eThekwini because they've been there. Yes, they are. Remember, the ANC is not like any other chatterland. When there are problems of communities, we come with solutions, we bring solutions to those problems. People, other chatterlands, they wait for a problem. Once a problem, then they rise on a problem, not to solve the problem, just to agitate people. They've been there trying to mobilize communities. And it's well known, it's not that there was no water, there was floods. Now, there's an area when we met them, they reported to us that in another area where almost 1.5 kilometers of a pipe that distributes sewer, it was blocked and damaged, and you have to remove the whole pipe and divert a sewer, and that thing is a huge amount of work and need a lot of engineering services. Then they have to do analysis in each treatment plant, water treatment plant, water sewer plant, or on the extent of the damage before they can. And other areas, for example, in the sewer treatment plants and water treatment plants, there are things we call them lead materials that they are not already available to manufacturers. You get the specification, you order, you put a 50% deposit. Then the manufacturer start to manufacture the part. Then it takes about, it depends on the capacity of the part. Sometimes it takes 3 months, sometimes it takes 6 months. It depends on that kind of a lead, what is called lead material. Then, but we are glad that eThekwini has done a good job, yes, because they've tried to revamp a lot of infrastructure. Things are becoming to normal. I know in Notongati, everything is becoming to normal, and in other areas, but there's still a lot of work that need to be done. In fact, the analysis that eThekwini has done is that for them to rehabilitate the infrastructure on floods, at least to provide a minimal basic service, at least they need 5 billion, which is almost equivalent to the current budget of infrastructure they have. Then they must raise that money. And then but we are glad that we've raised that to the president, that the president must find a way of injecting at least 2 billion to eThekwini as quickly as possible. And the president said he's going to speak to Minister Kotongwana and speak to Comrade Spuhla Lamakhoba, the leader of Infrastructure South Africa. I think we'll take it from there. But I think we're doing a great job in eThekwini. But it's not that people are exaggerating things. Because eThekwini, we know that while they may have challenges like all other spheres of government and all other entities, but the devastating state they are in now is a result of floods. Unless, Pungula, you are also like these people who believe that everything that happens, even if the sun is too hot, is because of councillors. You see, there are people who are like that, Shem. They always that everything is done by councillors. We can't blame them, but we also can't blame councillors. That even if you get sick, you think it's councillors that make you sick. Why must I be sick yet I have a counter who's a mayor? Why must I have why the sun is too hot today? It's at 38 degrees Celsius while counter is here, is a mayor. People who believe that, but they are doing very well. To answer you directly, we are very happy with the deploys of the ANC in eThekwini. We have confidence in the mayor. He has stabilized the city. He's doing very well. We got confidence on the executive committee of eThekwini. We had only one problem of a man who thought is too powerful, who started to undermine the whole protocol, doing a lot of interference in the administration. As a result, before he even lost our support, he lost the support of his own bloc. Because what is not told here is that Mavunda was not only removed by us. His own bloc came to the ANC and said, hey, this one, we've firstly removed him as a chair. Because he was the chair of a bloc of smaller parties. They put a vote of no confidence to him because they were unhappy the way he was behaving. Because remember, you can mislead people to a certain extent, but not forever. Then they said no. In fact, they then wanted to put a vote of no confidence then and all that. When we remove him, everybody else, I can tell you, all small parties, almost all small parties, 99% of small parties agreed with us that Mavunda must be removed. And then economic freedom fighters agreed that Mavunda must be removed. It's a danger to the people of eThekwini. And then that's why we don't have a problem with a vote of no confidence, because currently we're working very well. We've stabilized a relationship, because those ones of the IFP in eThekwini, the councillors, are not having a problem with the ANC in eThekwini. The problem comes from Ulundi, Shem. They are told what to do. They are being driven like voting cows. Otherwise, consciously, the councillors of the IFP in eThekwini, they don't have a problem with us. They want to work with us. They say to us every day that, hey, you understand, most the IP is not like you guys. They don't have democrats, those ones. They say you must do this, and if we don't do this, and they don't have to send you to a DC. They can fire you with a statement in Ulundi, then you are gone. Remember, they are human beings also. They got bills to pay. They got kids to send to school. Then they are just kowtowing to the IFP, but they disagree with the IFP because they see the work, because they also see that the DA does not represent their interest. Remember, they can be IFP, but they are coming from Inand. They are coming from Wamash. The constituency we share with them and all other black parties is the same. But they can see that DA is driving in an agenda of racism. As councillors, consciously, I'm telling you now, if the IFP can say, and I'm challenging the IFP if it says I'm wrong, if the IFP can say in the councillors of Ethekwini, of the IFP, go there and vote in your conscience, they will vote with the ANC. They will vote with the ANC. They don't vote with the ANC because the IFP is forcing them to work with a racist DA, Democratic Alliance. Then they have no choice. Otherwise, they don't have a problem with us. Then you know that the comrades of Ethekwini on their own, because we are also mindful that we are not in a majority, want to work with us because we got nothing to hide. We have given economic freedom fighters the chairperson of Municipal Public Accounts Committee. Why that is important? Because they are also a huge party in the municipality. So that when you accuse us of all these things, they can hold us accountable. They can hold us accountable. So that even our comrades, when they think to do shenanigans, they will know that comrades of the EFF will investigate them and hold them accountable. Then, if you can go to that extent, it shows that we are transparent, we are prepared to take accountability. Then there's no problem. They can put as much of vote of no confidence. You most vote of no confidence in these days because the legislation also is weak. It doesn't say there must be reasons for you to put a vote of no to a mayor. You must look at a mayor like this. Is too black today. Then I don't like a black mayor. I like a mayor with white complexion. Then I put a vote of no confidence. No reason to put no. The mayor was wearing a long suit that I don't like. Until the Structures Act and Systems Act is strengthened to say, like in the presidents, that if you want to put a vote of no confidence to a mayor, or at least you must pass a certain test of rationality, other than putting. But it's a political game. Remember, a vote of no confidence has got nothing to do with service delivery. It's a political game to put pressure on a ruling party or those that it rules with them to put pressure. But I can tell you, they won't succeed because they don't. DA does not have numbers. DA does not have numbers. That's why it's no longer contesting what? DA is no longer contesting what? Why is no longer contesting what? It hates to be humiliated that it will be seen that is losing numbers. To prove that they contested Numsundu's in Ward 28 because that was their ward. But if you go there, the ANC has increased its support with 100%, while the DA won the ward. It won the ward with a huge reduced majority. Whereas in the northern areas, majority of that area, 80% Indian community. They are starting to see that these ones are not representing us. Because in that community, the Msunduzi municipality has given land, identified land that should be procured to provide houses for all communities there, the Indian community, the Black Africans. DA is opposing that. It says, no, this is a land for investment. We must bring investment. These people can't come here. They will make noise here. They will be dirty here. It's saying Indians and then Black Africans will bring dirty there. That's what it says, DA. Then they started to see that, yeah, we told them that DA will never serve their interest. It may want their vote. That's why over the years, when it tried to mislead the people of South Africa, it started to put black party leaders in all provinces, shame, sugarcoating, bringing my man and all those things. When it started to see that ANC is dropping a little bit, they started to say, maybe we may take over. They started a program of killing the DA of black leaders. They removed Mwango here. Now he's frustrated there is a presenter of vetoes. He's nothing else than a presenter of vetoes. They have reduced him to that. They removed him and put Francis Rogers because they think they can even take KZN and these fools. Then they believe that. Then they remove him. All over provinces, they remove Mutlin, Gauteng, all of them. They put white people, they removed my money, they brought Helen Zille. When he came in, he said colonialism was the best, everything that happened. He forgot this fool that Ethiopia was not colonized. It's got a massive infrastructure. There's no proof that infrastructure that is there is a result of colonialism. In fact, it's nonsense. It's rubbish, to be honest. If you look at South Africa, for example, if you go to Johannesburg today, if you go to Gauteng today, the 80% of the massive sophisticated infrastructure in Gauteng was built by democratic government, not by what apartheid government. If you go to many towns, even in KZN, even if you come to eThekwini, many developments that are happening in eThekwini are happening under a democratic government, not under a white government. Many Bagate Junction there, it's happened under your watch. You forget easily because these fools are telling you lies all the time, and you believe those lies. Then we have proven to them that we can do that. Then DA started now. Now they are going back to their tricks. Remember, for them to frustrate democracy, they've used the IFP. The IFP has been always the stooge of white racism. Even if you talk about people who champion black-to-black violence, they did that through the IFP successfully. They did that. If you talk about a sustaining tribalism that still haunts our country today, they apartheid white racist. They do that by making sure that they sponsor that to the IFP. And the IFP became a symbol of tribalism. And then when they go back and have an alliance with the IFP, a pact, it's not a new relationship. It's an old relationship that started in 1977. It's an old relationship. It's old as myself. It's a 46-year relationship of white racism with IFP. Then that's what is IFP. If you go to Vryheid, for example, in Vryheid, where the most of our farm workers are being abused, they had an agreement with the KwaZulu government under the IFP to say, no, we will treat you well, we'll protect you, and then you must give them so much wages. So much wages. Then they were literally protected by the IFP. At some point, the IFP had to recruit a particular white man in that area who was a farmer, who was abusing a lot of black people. They recruited him and called a meeting and paraded him there. And people said, what now? Oh, man, this person is abusing us here, he denies us water, everything else, he kills our cows. Then the IFP said, no, this is your man, you must respect him. He gave them some cows, they slaughtered them. Because that's who they are. Then, is that you forget easily? Then there's no problem, Pungula, on the council. They can bring as many votes. In fact, they can bring them weekly, those votes of no confidence. If they could manage, they can bring them weekly. We don't have a problem. We'll defeat them weekly. If weekly is frustrating them, they can bring them hourly. When we finish the council, they put a vote of no confidence and say, Speaker, call it in 2 hours. We'll call them and defeat them again. Because nobody takes them serious. As long as there's a collaboration between a racist DA and IFP, our people will never agree with that. Even people, our other black parties will never agree to that. Even if they disagree with some of the things we do, but we are a better devil than the DA. They know it very well. Because DA doesn't represent even their own constituencies. They know that. Then I think Comrade Counter will issue the dates of Izimbizo to go and report to communities. Because why that is important, we have said as the PEC, when people, they don't know information, they do it. They do it because they don't know information. If they don't have electricity, and they are not told when electricity will be delivered, they will do it all, of course. But if the mayor comes to the people and say, I know you don't have electricity in this area, in terms of the budget and our plans of the municipality, based on the available budget, we are going to deliver electricity in this area in 2024, October, even beyond elections. Then, of course, they will make noise, but you will tell them the truth. Eventually, now they will know, okay, even if we toy, even if we storm cars, even if we ban schools, but the truth we have been told, we will get electricity in this area through the mayor's mouth in 2024 October. Then why should we ban our schools when we know the truth? Why should we storm cars of our own residents who are passing here while we know the truth? Then they now know the truth. Then they will wait to make the mayor accountable. When is October, they will start to say, yes, October has arrived. Where is the mayor? Where is the contractor for electricity? Because they've told us the truth. The mistake that sometimes we do is not tell our people the truth. And then when they don't know the truth, what happens is, then a fool comes in and mislead them. As a result, if you don't do that, you know what other people do? They just get an information that a council has approved, for example, if you go to draft budget on March, you approved a hall in Umlas in a draft budget. They know that something in the draft budget never changes most of the time. Then they say, okay, let me go first to the community. In April, I say, march for a hall. Demand a hall here. Demand a hall. Let's demand a hall. He becomes a hero. He demands a whole march for a hall. And then when a mayor comes and say, we'll do a hall, whose credit goes to? It goes to this fool who abused a privileged information that already the hall is planned. But because the mayor was not proactive to tell the communities first that I'm gonna come and budget for your hall, they had to demand it on my budget IDP in October. Then around August, contractor is coming. Then he just does this thing as a municipality and it stays quiet. Then a fool comes first to the community and say, demand a hall. He knows the hall is coming. When the hall is coming, it's like it's brought by this fool. Then this fool becomes a hero. Then when his next local government elections, he gets elected a ward councillor because he brought a hall to them. He never brought a hall. The hall was already coming. He abused available information because he see that the municipality is not telling people that we are planning to do this thing for you. And that's what they do, these people. Then we have resolved that we know that at eThekwini, we are not having a simple majority. We can't be arrogant. We can't take power all to ourselves. We must share government responsibility with everybody that believes that working with us can deliver good services for our people. As I've said to you, that you remember that the block of smaller parties, we negotiated to those people as a block, not with APC. It was not APC. We negotiated with those councillors as block of small parties. Then they said, let's give Mavundla. Then we have resolved that the deputy mayor will still go to the block of small parties. It can't come from the ANC because the ANC can't take the whole executive committee. It would be unreasonable for the ANC to do that. In fact, not only unreasonable, it would be stupid and a high level of arrogance. If we go there and say, we know that we are not 50% plus, want to take the mayor, take the whole executive. That's why we said, no, the deputy mayor must still remains there. Then we're going to engage them and then we'll fill that vacancy. But also, as I told you, that Economic Freedom Fighters is a leader of MPEC, Municipal Public Accounts Committee. We are working with everybody. Then, an IFP and DA, their marriage made in hell in 1977 is still continuing. We don't worry about it. Thank you.
Yeah, I will check if there is any further question or follow-up. Yeah, okay. We'll let's go to final first.
There is a question from Carver Simon from News 24. It says, yesterday, President Ramaphosa said the electricity crisis was a result of lack of maintenance in 2010. So does the ANC-KZN think that leaders in the party and ESCOM from the period should answer for failing to maintain electricity supply?
No, thanks. It's a distortion. Let's not distort the president. It's a distortion. Why News 24 distort the president? No, it's a distortion. But I think let's give an analysis. Let me tell you, there's an accusation that the ANC government was told to build some power plants, and then it decided to not build power plants, and then to continue. When we took over in 1994, the reserves of electricity were around 40%. Reserves. But what you forget, even yourself, Pungul, that in your own village there was no electricity. These people are complaining about load shedding. When you were not load shedded 4 hours, you were permanently on load shedding. There was no electricity. You were dealing with things of paraffin and all that. Not even candles. Candles came around very late. It was paraffin stoves and all those things. Then they presented around 1996. They said, listen, in terms of the RDP program of the ANC, when you look at the massive electricity rollout that we need to do as ESCOM, based on your program, because most of all townships had no electricity, rural areas were dark, Nothing. They could not. You only knew electricity on cities when you visit your aunties who are working in cities. You only say, oh, there's something like this. Then nothing in the mainland. Now, they said, can you stall the project of rolling out electricity at least until 2004? Allow us to build new power stations. Then in 2004, now we'll be ready. We can do a little bit. Then 2004, ANC said, what? We're elected and said people, they will get electricity, they will get housing. Hi, man, gag. This thing was a choice factor. Was a choice factor. Do you choose to say you've been in government for 10 years? After people have waged a struggle for 8 years. People have waged a struggle for 8 years. Then they are free now. We are telling them, no, we will wait for 10 years. After 10 years, but they will see still the minority getting electricity because they will still have electricity. Then the ANC has to make a choice to say, no. Because we got reserves, please, man, try to roll it out. Then we'll plan. Now, that's why they plan Kusile and Medupi. Because ESCOM, President said that, not what News 24 said. President says, because ESCOM was not building new power stations for that period, then it lost skills of people who were specifically trained to build power stations. It lost those skills. Then when they lost, the people who left ESCOM to greener pastures to other areas in Europe and Asia, then when they were now designing Medupi, then there were no skills in the country. There were no skills in the country. Then there were some fault designs on Medupi and Kusile. It's a structural objective, a weakness. It's not something that, it's not because of stupidity. That's what the president said. Then, yes, there may be mismanagement at ESCOM, but objectively, then there was a time we knew that at certain point, the people, the electricity will have to be augmented and put more or megawatts. But what was coupled with that is that while we don't build new power stations for 10 years to wait to erode electricity, the old power stations are also aging. Letabo is not waiting for you. Letabo is not waiting for you. Duva is not waiting for you. Then they are also aging. If I can tell you about Letabo, for example, my father was working for ESCOM. He worked at Letabo while he was a boy. He worked there until he retired. That's how old Letabo power station is. Then, when Letabo is aging, it means while you are not building, at a time you will be ready to build power stations. Other old power stations will be out of life. Then they have to take a decision to extend some of the life of those coal-fire power stations. And then that is too expensive. But another thing that you are not also saying, that President said, is that also the debt that is owed to ESCOM, 70 billion. ESCOM is like a corporate, it's a business. It's like if you say Pungula, you open your spa at Umlas, then you sell a grocer. People don't pay your grocer. You just sell a grocer. People don't pay. You give them credit. Eventually it will collapse. Because when there's the money to clean, when there's the money to order new stock, when there's the money to maintain fridges, you won't have that money because the money for your stock, every time you order stock, nobody pays for it. Now, ESCOM is owed 70 billion by big corporates, by communities. You see? Then these are the things that you must look after. But we are not saying, we are saying the failure of ESCOM. Because in some instances, we must agree that there was a failure in ESCOM, especially in for example, now, Comrade Mantashe always maintained that electricity capacity at ESCOM is there. What is lacking is quality maintenance. Make sure that coal-fired plants are working in place. But the problem is that now you have a CEO who doesn't believe in ESCOM. Let me tell you what he did to see that anti-director is beyond stupidity. If you don't want to accept as South African that anti-creator is beyond stupidity, you must get a new English word to define his stupidity. A moron or what? He says he is encouraging the city of Cape Town to move away from ESCOM. Now, it's like a person who owns a retail shop when he hear that his biggest customer wants to go to another retail shop and say, yeah, do it. What kind of a CEO is that? How can a CEO of Massmart or a CEO of Shoprite Checkers or a CEO of Spa or Rhino or Pick and Pay, Woolworths, is told that no, your customer, your regular customer, wants to move away from you and buy groceries from someone, he says, yes, do it. Now, this man is stupid. He encourages people to go out of ESCOM because he wants to collapse ESCOM. He has no interest for ESCOM. He wants ESCOM to be collapsed. That's his duty to do. When he encourages, I can tell you, as a metro, you can go to anybody. A metro, for example, where I was a mayor, we were spending 100 million to buy bulk electricity from ESCOM. Small municipality, 100 million a year. Then, if ESCOM can say, when we say, no, we are moving from you, and the CEO says, move. In fact, I'm encouraging you, move as yesterday. Then I must lose this 100 million. What kind of a CEO is that? The man is stupid. Because he ran something he doesn't even know, Shem. I think they made a mistake of putting him there. They never thought that is a man who is a part of a counter-revolutionary force to destroy a democratic state. To destroy a democratic state. They did that in 2021. When elections are there, they just shut the country down. Just shut it down. When we went in to vote here, people had no electricity in various metros in various cities. The writer shut electricity down. When Comrade Mantashe says the writer is using ESCOM to overthrow government, it's true. That statement to say a biggest electricity buyer of ESCOM, when he says I'm leaving, he says leave. It must say you all. It must say you all. If ENCA here can be told that you see that constituency that's got about 200,000 viewers, they want to shift to SAPC or Newsroom Africa. Says, yeah, shift. I don't need those viewers. What kind of a CEO is that? Instead of saying, why are they leaving? They can't leave. If they leave, we're gonna lose adverts because adverts they chase audiences. The more you got an audience, the adverts chase you. That's why they come to our interviews because they know now they are listened by almost 10 million people. Now everybody now is listening. 10 million. They are listening to us. That's why they are here. Because now those who are big corporates, they now search and say, okay, when they got an ANC conference, they got more viewing these ones. Okay, then let's sell adverts at that time, and then we say at this particular prime spot because they know. Then the writer is foolish, my man. So not accept that. Then that is a misdirection of what the president have said. It's not true. President, for the first time, he accounted on what happens at ESCOM, and then we even said as the PEC, because sometimes you must run away from the truth. The president, I think Ramaphosa's fault is just he's an honest, ethical man. He's not a liar. I think South Africans, they need liars. People who lie a lot. You see, they like liars and clap hands for liars who say things they will never deliver. I think the fault of Ramaphosa is an honest, ethical man with reputation and integrity. He speaks the truth. He told us there that the challenges at ESCOM are not going to be solved in 3 months. Because for him to say not going to be solved in 3 months, there will be no load shedding, it will be irresponsible. Then, that's why South Africans can be ready. If the president one day comes up and say, listen, we are on stage 6, stage 3, stage 2, sometimes stage 8. But our analysis says, let's keep the country on stage 2 for 2 full years or 12 months so that we take all our fleet, buy lead materials, revamp our fleets, then we are sorted out. Then when we come back in 12 months, we end load shedding forever. Then South Africans will know that now we got a government that is got clarity of thought. Than to just willy-nilly piecemeal. Load shedding 6, they got people, they are angry. You go to stage 3, then you have no load shedding. Just for 3 weeks, stage 4 comes. It's not sustainable. It's better to be honest. And I think the board of ESCOM, when they said they're going to keep the country for stage 2 load shedding, let's listen to them. What is the reason to do that? Because the president had an insight, comprehensive information to us that there are various plans that they need to be taken out of. One of them is PEC. PEC is out. A unit is out there at PEC. And then it's still gonna, I think it's gonna come, I think, in the near future. But it's out of service. And then President said, when they met those engineers from ESCOM, they say, listen, President, even if we bring PEC back, what you need to do is to check others on service. Because what you can't do is when you are driving a car, let's make this thing simple. Let's hope you do have a car. When you are driving a car, and then a car tells you that a lamp shows you there's a shortage of oil. You pass all service station, you continue to drive the car recklessly. What will happen is that the car will break down. When the car breaks down, you will have no mode of transport. But for you to fix the car that is stupidly driven, knowingly that it's got fault, instead of maintaining the car, that's going to cost you more than filling 2 cans of oil. It has broken the engine now. You will be demanded 40,000 because of stupidity. That's what the president was telling us of ESCOM. The failure to maintain and want to push the system hard because you are scared to tell the people the truth is that once it fails dismally, you will need billions and time to recover it back. It's better to keep us on load shedding, at least an acceptable level of stage 2 for a year. But we know that once it's done forever. And I think South Africans, because they are not unreasonable. Because what you don't tell us, so for example, I went home. I went home there in my village, in Umzimkulu. Then I arrived there. And then people were speaking about all the challenges when they see us. Then I thought they would speak about load shedding. What is their view? Then I said I must probe them. We are saying all these problems, but my worry is that you don't talk about load shedding. Load shedding is not a worry to us. Remember, when we get electricity, we get electricity. In fact, this one is we're used to darkness. You see, we're used to darkness 100%. Now, at least now, ESCOM takes 4 hours, 2 hours, and all that. But you will understand, they are in rural areas, most. They are not like in cities. In cities, it's too dangerous because they don't understand the complexity of cities, that you must run the economy and all that. But I'm trying to say, people, they can even see that even this load shedding is better than what they were under apartheid. They appreciate that. People, they will say, Pungula, for example, during apartheid, people were working. Democracy comes. It created unemployment. I'm asking them a question. If people were working under apartheid, why do you see poverty in South Africa? What happened? Who demolished the houses, the big houses they built with the money that they were earning under apartheid? Who came in and demolished all those big houses? Because if you go to townships now and you go to rural areas, just when you pass Tegwini, the people are building machines under democracy. Because they are not just working, they are getting better, decent salaries. Now, if you're saying people are working under apartheid, why are you smelling poverty? Of those people who have worked for 20 years in the mines, 20 years in cities, you go there, they still sit in Rendervelds. Because the only thing that apartheid gave them work for is that they were tools to industrialize and for them to make money. They could only keep them in the hostels and give little bit at home, nothing else. They could not build anything. They could not send their children to school. Now, if they were working, why poverty is still there? Because they were working. You see, then it's not true. It's because you are told lies every day. Lies. You see, when your mother says you are ugly, even if you are handsome, you will always believe that, no, it means I'm ugly. Because my mother always tell you, you ugly one. Even if you are ugly, if your mother says you are handsome, some of us will believe that we are handsome because our mother told us every day you are handsome. That's why nobody can tell me I'm ugly, I'm handsome, I know. Because my mother told me that he gave birth to a very handsome boy. He's telling even me today, when I go home, hello, my handsome boy. Then what I'm told every day, I believe it. Now, they are telling you lies. The one fool is saying in Africa, they elect leaders who have not built anything. I said, what? Leaders who have not built anything. Didn't live in South Africa. This person is foolish. But you see what they do, this system. They get these blacks who think they have too too much of themselves and use them and pay them to insult us. And because they know that when it's said by them, it's going to be seen. They must use another black man to insult us because it looks legitimate. Look, they've been using stooges like in the old days. They are still having stooges now. I'm asking them, Muguti, does this say in KZN the Lamesi airport by people by people who have built nothing? Lamesi airport here. It's a new airport. It's an international airport. It was built by Sbusi or Joel and them, who came as a premier in 2004. Then you can't say Ndebele was elected because it's a leader who can't build nothing. It's stupidity. You go to Tube Trade Port now, in the airport. Lot of billions are generated there. In Richards Bay, there's Richards Bay minerals and everything else. It was built by this democratic government. Then a fool comes and say, we're electing people who built nothing. It's stupidity. You go to Gauteng, all those highways, that massive infrastructure, that when you drive there, it was built under this democracy. Chief Albert Lutuli here, hospital, that all else when it's done, even in private hospitals, when you complicate, you are sent as a referral to Chief Albert Lutuli, was built under ANC government. The MEC was William Keys, who built that hospital. Then you are saying we have built nothing. We have just built a hospital here in eThekwini, a new hospital. It's not true that you were leaders who built nothing. But when you are told, you even believe that, yeah, these people built nothing. For the first time in KwaZulu-Natal to see tarred roads in deep rural areas, it's because of this government, in this government. Now, but when you are told that they built nothing, you even believe. You go, let me tell you, Pungula, one day I will take you. In fact, they must have a tour. I will give you a tour in a school that we have built by this democratic government. It was built under Senzo Mkhonunda School, MEC, in Mandeni. In Mandeni, it's a rural area in Mandeni. Go there. Look at that school. When you are there, if you can be brought at night, you will never believe that school is in Mandeni. You will think it's somewhere in the cities, either in Durban or in Johannesburg or somewhere in Boksburg. You will never think it's in Mandeni. Then it was built by this democratic government, but you say, were leaders who built nothing. It's because you are told lies, and lies every day, and you yourself, you even believe these lies. You think they are genuine. They are not genuine. They are not true. If you go to cities, go to Mzimkhulu city, for Mzimkhulu town. Mzimkhulu was nothing. It has been built in the last 15 years to what it is. You go to Potchefstroom. If you can get a Potchefstroom in 26 April 1994, and the Potchefstroom of today is far better. eThekwini, all cities in KZN, they are far better than they were in 1994. But let me tell you something that they don't tell you, these fools. Even them who are in business today, you can go to any farmer in KZN. They've made more money under democracy than they were under apartheid. One farmer told me that he bought a farm in 1993 with 23% interest rate. 23% interest rate. But they could not export their products to other countries because apartheid was an evil, inhumane government that was locked by the international community. Then they could not because we're a small nation. Now under democracy, they are free, they are trending. In fact, these people, to be honest, are the ones who suppose when there's a vote, they should not ask. Those who benefited under apartheid, if I was them, if they are honest, they are reputable people, they should be just going to a vote and don't look otherwise and say, where's ANC? We're living far better under ANC. After we have brutalized these blacks so much, we've denied them so much, but under them, we're still living fine. They should be voting ANC and ask a second ballot and say, no, we can't vote ANC once. We deserve to vote it for just voting. We must also vote it for thanking them for making us who we are. They are making more money than they were under apartheid. White capitalists in South Africa. They are making more money than you can ask even the Oppenheimers. The Oppenheimers, they've been there. I know that when you are lying, you are saying Oppenheimers, they were brought by Ramaphosa. Lying. That's a lie. Oppenheimers, they've been in control of the mining industry before 1994. Nothing has ever changed. But they are making more money now than they have ever made under apartheid. Rupert with Remco and all, he's making more money now than he has ever made under apartheid. All of them. Then that's why they will never leave South Africa. They are intimidating you. They will never leave because this is a country they make. You see, if you are a white person in South Africa, you have no competition. Let's face the truth. In terms of skills, we have no competition because you were given preferential skills based on race. That's why they hate affirmative action. They don't even learn this one is not like the one of apartheid. This affirmative action of ours is to bring black to be equal to them. It's not like to prevent them. But now they made a preferential treatment that was preventing others to come in. That's why they hate affirmative action. They hate PEE because to them, PEE, they think it's like them. But now they democratic the economy. You could not do this. You could not do this. You could not do this. That's why they are advanced. Then in South Africa, they have no competition. But a white engineer, when he leaves South Africa to Germany, when he arrives at Germany, he arrives at many engineers. It becomes a small boy there. It becomes a nothing there. In Germany, engineers are found in the street. Then here, he becomes the only engineer in his village. Then he's competitive. Then he can leave this job and go to this job. He can resign at WPHO. He can go to Maren Roberts. He can go to Ropex. Can go because he's got skill. He's got experience. But if they live to Switzerland, they live to Australia. Yes. There they realize the real life that there's competition outside. Then they can't live here because here they live much better than they were under apartheid.
Yeah, no. Usuyayikhomba uyayisherela futhi manje. Ngena
You've had this interview, it's now yours.
No, you can come in.
Just clarity, basically, is EFF in your pocket table? I know before they were on the other side. Are they in your side? Just that missing as well. Okay, if you tell me, I must remember something. You know, but I'm looking at some of the talents. So say it's okay, you remember after the 7
Hi. Misquoting again in front of me. At least News 24 is quoting president.
And this time around, Palele Pass.
And News 24 is quoting is misquoting the president in his absence. Why now you are misquoting me in my presence? You could carry it.
But the question is, I know there was an issue with these people, whether they're genuine former MK members, because they were matching everything. I know there was an issue outside. Do we know how many former MK members now in the system? That time there was going to be a conference here. Give a card to the Gustav Bangaba, or to Mutagas in Nabaki, by MK, no commander working. What's up with Haikona absorbed? Now, much wasn't to Bangabo, much was was too much. Any specific is no construction, there are a bit of no pressure and other things. Well, then, SDs, about SDUs. So there was an issue with that.
Self-defense unit.
Exactly. So there was an issue whether those guys were real MK members or now they've been opted into MK members. Because they were here with us and I know those guys. It's not what we talk about. So imagine, I'm not going to say MK pension, which never I think the MK qualified. And true,
no, you were linked to any unit.
Sorry?
Were you linked to any unit?
Yeah, was it?
MK unit?
Yeah.
Which unit was that?
No, MK.
Which unit of MK you were linked to?
SDU.
Which unit of MK? SDU was linked to a unit. Which unit you were reporting? You see, we are lying. We are lying.
No, it's fine. I think we can.
Now, this now, in a right. Is it correct to do okay? Those SDU, that. Now, apart of the MK. So, and two, we know okay, we're going to pension. So now what did they want?
No, we get your question. You know what we want to do, because at some stage, Melesval, Bala Uzongena, Esengena once, I can see maybe one case at Mausu Mausungenila Maufunungena will on if they do have on the right. But if you want to come in, I think we can allow you to come in. Yes.
Would like to request you just a short summary of your thoughts of your meeting. Just a short summary. I've seen you have resulted in meeting that you resulted in, any new members to the PEC, certain logo.
Must I start first deliver the statement?
Yes, please.
No. You know what we are. Okay, it's fine. Unopala will answer that question, but then umeseqeda angeke asifunde sonke statement. But ngesizulu uzo highlight amaphathi nje ambalwa in less than 3 minutes. Okay, no Pala.
No, thanks. No, let's start this one. This one must be dealt with. Because if we don't deal with him, it will be a mistake. I'm saying to you, Pungula, in eThekwini, there are two groups. There is a group that represents the majority of our people, in the main, who are South African Democrats, black people in general, and Africans in particular. Those are found in the ANC, in the bloc of smaller parties, and the economic freedom fighters. Those ones are on the left. Then there's a right-wing group. A right-wing group that is divided into two. A racist group represented by the DA with a stooge called IFP, which uses its own stooge. That because it's a blackface, it can mislead voters for it to expand itself. I think you will know that, for example, because DA is clever, it knows that in KZN it can't get more votes. Now, the only thing it can get more votes is to use the IFP as a true representative in the eyes of the people. Then it gets votes, then the IFP gets votes, then it take all those votes and dip them in the DA and accounts to the DA. That's what it does. Now, I'm saying to you, when you go and vote there, then these groups, they will never meet with these ones. It's impossible. It's impossible. They don't meet. You see, they don't meet. Right and left never meet. Right and left never meet. But these ones of Ulundi, led by Shabisa and Tamintul, you must never mistake them. They can do anything to derail a black protest. They've done that in the past. Nothing will stop them to do it. They've been doing that. But they use a good word of rhetoric. You can think they represent you until you see with yes, these people. Then, the Department of Military Veterans, they've done their audit. It can't be me and Pungula here, whom we now agree we're not in MK. Who the hell are we to tell somebody that we are not MK? We're not in MK ourselves. In KZN, it's only a branch secretary, a branch, a region, or a zone, or a PC that can tell you are not a member of the ANC. But not any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and say, no, we're not going to tell me, are you a member of the ANC? Kobe can't even answer that person. Why for? Mina now, we have no authority to question people of the MKVA. Let's allow that to the MKVA and the Department of Military Veterans. They've got but Tina here, we are talking about genuine comrades. who have been there, who are saying they must get all the support that they deserve. What you don't understand, Pungula, I'm not sure you must get time just to have I can even give you some of the names. Sit down with them in a tea, and then they workshop too. Uguti, some of them, they joined MK when they were 15. When they were 15, they joined MK. Then they did everything for MK. Then, but guess what? When they came in the country in 1991, some of them too, then they were already 52 years. Then something must tell you, this guy lives here as a child at 15 years. He joins MK. He leaves the country at 17 years. Then he comes back after 30 years. 30 full years, he comes back in the country. He doesn't even know his village. His own village has changed so drastically. His own town has changed. So just to be compatible with his village becomes a problem. You see? Now, can you see the trauma that these people have gone through? But who on earth can employ a man of 52 years who has never worked, who was fighting for freedom, got no experience of working? No one. Now they came here with no experience. Some of them, they didn't get education. Now, these are the people that, and then the democratic state had an obligation to take care of them, at least give them houses, look at their kids and all that. That's what we're saying in this statement, that it can be that in this 4 year of this PC, when we account in July 2026, we must account and say nobody whose MK is known doesn't have a shelter and his children or her children over the roof. It must not happen. We must know, because they did everything for this country. Some of them, they will tell you that they will be in Tanzania. They will be told he wakes up in Tanzania, stays 3 weeks, he's taken to Yugoslavia, taken to Soviet Union, to Cuba. He's just a mess. Within a short space of time, he moves many countries. You see, he learns many languages. He meets many people, various cultures. Then it's not easy, Pungula. Until you sit down with them. You can undermine them and say they were making noise here. To you, they look stupid. They look ungenuine. Until you sit down with them, you share that pain that they will share with you. You will realize that it's not easy. Gonga besikusho la. Besithi ANC. I-PC ihlalile insukwini ezimbili. Konke ebeyikwenza bekwenza ukushintsha impilo zabantu bakwaZulu Natal. Sibe nenhlanhla ukuthi sifikele umongameli wabeka umbiko ogcwele ngeenkinga ezibhekene no Eskom. Washo futhi ukuthi usekhulumile lo Eskom ukuthi lukhushuka kogesi ake kumiswe kancane. Savumelana nomongameli ukuthi ngempela uEskom nathi sithi ukumiswa ukukhushulwa kagesi lokho kuzoqala ngomhla ka-1 April kwa-18.56% akume, angaqhubeki. Kodwa sithi uma ngabe uEskom enenkani iqhubeka, omasipala abalidwa yi-ANC besebenza nenhlaka zomphakathi mabaqoqe imizwa yasemphakathini, basuke bona omasipala baye enkantolo, bathole abameli baye enkantolo bayomisa ukukhushulwa kogesi. That's what we're saying. Kusasa ngibhala incwadi ngibhalela bonke omasipala abalidwa yi-ANC, omeya no-municipal manager, ukuthi if uEskom akavumelani nomongameli, instruction kamongameli ukuthi akaye ukukhuphula ugesi, then omasipala be-ANC mabahambe baye enkantolo bawumisa uEskom. It means gonna be a huge battle. Bawumisa uEskom ngoba sikholelwa ukuthi ukukhuphuka kagesi akuyenzi sense, ngoba abantu we-understanda ukuthi imisebenzi ayikho, abantu bayahlupheka, abantu sebenza bahulumeni for example bebengayitholi increase for the longest time, othisha abanye badlela imizi manje and all that. Inflation is less than 6%. Uyikhuphula kanjani electricity go 18.56%? Ayikho economy esebenza kanjalo, awukho umnotho osebenza kanjalo emhlabeni, unless ke if uEskom noNelsa babhema insangu engavushwanga. But if ba normal, you should know that. Now, ilokho sikusho, then you are then saying siyajabula ngomsebenzi owenziwe umasipala waseThekwini, ukhokhelwa umeya ukuthi ebuya ezikhuphuleni ezinkulu, kodwa seyekwazi ukuthi infrastructure eningi bayibuyisele ku service like eThongathi and other areas. Siyavuma futhi ukuthi kwipipe elikhulu elifaka amanzi kwa eMlazi nakamakhuthe ngalefoleni bafakela ipipe elilodwa amapipe amakhulu awu2 amanzi elinye ipipe selilimele ngoba it was built more than 15 years ago around isikhathi sika baba Obed Mlaba then ilo pipe leli elungiswayo then sithi abantu baseMlazi abanyamezela ukuthi bathola amanzi bangatholi njengebe behleli bathola ngenzeka kuba amanzi baloke bewavalela amaholani amancane mhlombe avulwa ngo4 ngo10 avalwe abuye mhlombe avulwe ngo2 and all that but sithi abake basinika isikhathi ngomasipala sethi kunyalungisa lo pipe isikhathi nje sincane singatheni mhlombe esingaphasi konyaka umasipala uzobe selilungisile ipipe then bakwazi babathola amanzi kodwa sithe umeya akahamba ubiza imbizo kule ndawo ayobachazela abantu ngenkinga abhekene nayo nokuthi uyilungisa kanjani nokuthi abantu bacabanga ukuthi bazowathola abatshela iqiniso abantu that's what we're saying komasho kohamba and all that we also siyaqhubeka futhi sithi so uhulumeni we-ANC siyasupporta ipolicy yokuthuthukisa abantu abamnyama kwezomnotho sithi ke uhulumeni akahambe ngokukhulu ukushesha ayopasisa lo mthetho obizwa ukuthi procurement bill eParliament was saying that ngoba siyakholela ukuthi abantu abamnyama funa baparticipate emnothweni wezwe futhi siyavuma ukuthi kunengqinamba eziningi eziphathelene inqalasinda amanzi inqalasinda ukutha kwendle inqalasinda agesi sithi ke kule kotla sizoletha ubaba usenzo mchunu azokwenza ipresentation ukuthi kanjani amademo hezelmide wonke amademo ezindlela ukuthi senze ukuthi amanzi atholakala kodwa siyajabula ukuthi uyifakile imali kumasipala waseZululand ubaba usenzo mchunu ukuthi abantu bakithi abahlala eZululand bakwazi ukuthola amanzi then ke kuzokwenza yonke ke lo comprehensive report ngicabanga ukuthi ilongo nje singakusho dadewethu siyaxolisela ukuthi ufike late kona ngabe usizwile
live ukuthi ayinalo uvalo kulaba mhlambe abafisa ukuleza i-vote of no confidence campaigns ngeyasethekwini ukhawulo. And my second question is kunemiphakathi under eThekwini ka-Ward 1 engenawo amanzi even before the recent floods ase-KZN mhlambe ngiyakazi nemidaba mhlambe intervention engafisa ukuthi ingenelele ngayo because results umphakathi njengamanje usuvula ipayipi enqobola khona emphakathini ethutha amanzi besiko kwenye indawo and kuyingozi kulo mphakathi. I've only those two questions.
Yeah, no umasipala waseThekwini unawo ama-plans okwenza for example banohlelo le-1.5 billion abazolenza lamanzi and siyacabanga ukuthi into esizobatshela yona ukuthi maba-increase ukuletha ama-water tanker kulo mphakathi wase-Ward 1 baphinde babheke nokuthi ngeke bakwazi ukufaka amabhoholi in the system besakha ama-schemes amakhulu ngoba uyokhumbula ukuthi iTheku abantu abaningi abazi iTheku lithatha amanzi eHazelmere Dam but amanzi amaningi eThekwini liwathatha eMigma Dam eMaritzburg. That's how far amanzi iTheku liwathatha khona. Siyabonga. Hayi dadewethu laba i-IFP i-DA with i-stooge i-IFP inqilebana zabo bangaqhubeka nje bafake i-vote of no confidence. Ngicabanga badlala umdlalo wezepolitiki shem kuvusa nje hayi bayazi nabo ama-numbers abanawo bangayifaka weekly. We don't have a problem, we'll defeat them weekly. Thank you.
Siyabonga. Oh yeah. Fire.